Hey, lesson 106 is all about equations, so like unknown number problems. But this time we're going to add a step. It just makes it a little bit more involved, makes us start to apply what we call inverse operations and do some real algebra. And this is one of the most important skills you'll need to master next year, but if you can get a leg up on next year and really get this down this year, you're going to thank yourself. So I want you to really focus today as we solve two-step equations such as 3n minus 1 is 20. Let's think about what that's saying. Feel free to pause to look at it longer if that's ever helpful. It's saying when I take 1 away from whatever 3n is, it's 20. So if that's the case, then this must be 21. Because when I take 1 away, it's going to give me 20. 3n means 3 plus n? 3 minus n? No, it really means 3 times n. And if 3 times n is 21, what's going to be n? This is a times sign. N is going to have to be 7, right? And we can check that answer. We solve for n. N is 7. We can check by putting it back into the problem. You're going to want to do that, especially early on with all these algebra problems. Go 3 times 7 minus 1 is 20. Is that true? Order of operations, multiply first, then subtract. 21 minus 1 is 20, and 20 is 20. Remember that answer means then n was 7. N equals 7. We kind of used what's called inspection to kind of mentally work our way through calculating the solution for that algebra. However, the algebraic method you're going to use that's most helpful for solving especially complicated ones that don't work out as simply as that one is using inverse operations to isolate the variable. There's a lot in what I just said. It's written down right here on the page. Using inverse operations to isolate the variable. You know inverse operations? Add versus subtract, multiply versus divide. Isolate is a word meaning to get by self, get by itself. We want to get the letter, the variable, by itself. Remember, variable is the letter, the unknown number. So we can do this exact same problem using inverse operations. 3n minus 1 is 20. We would show our work like this. Start with the subtract or plus, just like we did before. Start by doing the opposite to the side with the variable. We're going to add 1, and you have to do that to both sides because equations must balance. If I'm going to add 1 to this side of the scale, I have to always add 1 to this side. But that accomplishes something because by doing that, now I have 3n by itself. It's changed this, but that's okay. It's still going to give us the right answer. Now what's the inverse, the opposite operation for the timesing? Divide by 3. Divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. N is 21 divided by 3 is 7. You don't really have to show a 1 in front of an n. That just means n. So n is 7. And we'd put it back into the problem. 3 times 7 minus 1 is 20. And that's true. Two-step algebra. They show my steps again here. They just showed the add 1 on the same line instead of below like I did. But I like to work pretty much vertically unless I'm ever multiplying by like fractions or adding fractions in these. So we performed two operations because they were the inverse of the operations that were there. We added and divided to the left side to get the variable by itself. What's the word we use for get by itself again? Isolate. All right, I'd like you to solve these using inverse operations to isolate the variable like we just did in example. Please show all steps so I know you can do it and you're using the new method so that we're ready for harder problems. Let's do 3 out of the 4. Pick 3 out of 4. All right, work hard. Focus.